Hey now, welcome back to Porchville. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you can find us on all those. Send us an email, porchmail@porchvillepod.com. Wherever you listen to your podcast, make sure you go over there, find us, and hit subscribe. Hit that button. Let us know what you think of the show, how we're doing, and we will definitely correspond. Mateo, to my left, what's happening, bro? How you doing?
Dude, did you notice that, how every time that, we start up the show, when that song comes on, doesn't matter who the guest is, they're headbanging, they're into it.
Well, that's because it's magic.
Dude, yeah. Yeah, it's almost like somebody really smart, designed it and wrote it and produced it.
And his name is Dave Rivenbark. He lives out in Los Angeles, California.
He's a fantastic dude.
Good guy.
I made the mistake.
Love you, Dave.
I made the mistake this morning of actually messaging him. It's like, man, I haven't seen any of your TikTok videos.
He
in
hasn't
a while.
sent me any TikTok videos for a while.
Back to back to back. He just sent them right to me.
Did he?
Yeah.
But you had to solicit him. Why don't you just go to his TikTok page?
Because I'd like to solicit Dave.
Hang on. Hey. Don't worry, I can edit this part. Daniel Biddle, Phoenix Midnight, or is it Mrs. Biddle? Our guests are in the house tonight.
No,
not yet. You didn't tell her why you're here. I'm an ordained minister. Strike up the music.
You
didn't.
You will say a pregnant lady running fast.
I thought this was your idea.
Nah, bro.
I was.
No.
I will show you how fast a pregnant woman can run.
She will waddle the fuck out of here.
Well, welcome to Porchville.
Dude, I was gonna call out sick today, but then I heard that there's a wedding going on.
Oh man.
All right, we'll put that on the back burner. We'll do that next time. I swear, he said first Porchville wedding.
It's 2020. Let's not add anything else to the pile-on of events that have happened.
We're good.
Oh, how have you guys been dealing with 2020? Now we're just getting back out of the world. Yep. It's a crazy world that we're sort of reemerging into, and I know there's a lot to unpack there. And I mean, I don't even know where to start, but I mean, for people who are just listening to this first time, who did not know Daniel Biddle, your teacher, comedian, all that good stuff, and everything you do got put on hold beginning of this year.
Yeah, March 13th. Whenever I went into the classroom at the end of the school year to clean it out and get ready, I could see on the calendar the last day we were there.
Oh,
it was creepy as fuck.
I'll bet.
The air conditioner hadn't been on, so the air was completely still and just, and it was just oh, this is eerie as fuck. It was really weird, really really weird.
I could see how that'd be a little creepy.
No one ever told me when I was in teacher college, hey, by the way, you could go to spring break and just never come back.
Just never come back.
That's a thing.
That's insane. It really is.
Is that what they call it? Do they actually call it teacher college?
No,
it's just
college, bro.
I'm being silly and facetious. I love Matt. He's just so inquisitive. He's like, is it really teacher college?
He's not afraid to ask whatever's on his mind.
It's not Hogwarts, I promise.
That thought came up in my head, and it just had to come out. I didn't have any control.
I love it.
Mrs. Midnight,
Hey.
how are you?
I wish I had a bottle of wine right now.
Oh. Well, I have a bottle of wine. However, you have baby on board.
Yes.
Little Biddle.
Whittle Biddle. Yes.
Whittle Biddle.
We have. Is there a name out there yet?
Oh God. Yes. Andre is
Andre.
his first name.
Yeah.
And so the way it goes in, with my family is that if it's a boy, the father gets to pick the first name, and then if it's a girl, I would have picked the first name.
Mm.
And we were having the ultrasound done and everything, and we're like, okay, I just need to know. I just have to know. And this little jackass would not move in the way that the lady could figure out what he was. So at one point, she's like, just push on your stomach. So I'm literally jabbing my stomach, and you can see him on the ultrasound just going,
No,
and he just turns around, bends over, and we all kind of look and be like, oh, yep, that's a boy.
Yeah, there it is.
And Daniel got to pick the name, and I still just can't with how he picked the name.
How did you pick the name?
Oh, so she was like, all right, so what are you going to name a boy? If it's a boy, what would you name him? I'm like, Andre. She's like, Andre Biddle. Ooh, that feels good. That feels nice.
That almost sounds like an
like
MMA fighter
Something.
name.
And she's
It's
like,
ladies and gentlemen, boys and
Andre
girls,
Biddle.
Andre Biddle.
I can dig it.
answer this riddle. Who's gonna kick your ass? Andre Biddle. No, so she's like, where did you come up with Andre? I'm like, Andre 3000, Outcast.
I was like, God damn it.
Oh yes. Oh,
Nice.
whenever we were in the ultrasound room, and she's like, oh yeah, it is a boy. I almost just went, my baby don't mess around.
And I'm like, if I wasn't laying on this table right now, I swear to God.
All right.
That is too much. That is too perfect.
I love
Yes.
Outcast.
Oh, dude, yes.
There are so many reasons why I love that name, Andre Biddle, like that.
It feels right.
And then you could also call it Andre Battle.
God damn it. God damn it.
I started it now where, like, if he acts like slightly out of character, I'm like, are you David Biddle's evil twin brother, David Battle? Who did I sleep
Yeah,
with last night?
she started doing that ever since the podcast, and then she realized like where David Battle came from. She's just constant fucking me with David Battle. Anytime I do anything out of line, David.
It's almost like a me, myself, and Irene kind of thing.
It kinda is.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, it's like I just want to stand here and like tell some jokes and everything like that, but then all of a sudden, motherfucker, you want to talk to me?
Is David Battle like part me, part Macho Man? Like, ooh, you just don't know.
Give him. What is it?
What the David Battle can do.
Now he's not. You mentioned Macho Man. Now there's only one thing that happens now.
Bonesaw is ready.
Bonesaw has not made an appearance since like episode 12.
It's been a while.
It's been a little bit.
It's been a while.
I triggered him. I'm sorry.
It happens.
I'm easily triggered.
It happens. So Phoenix, what are you? Where are you from? Are you from Gainesville? What is your story?
Oh, God, I have jumped around.
Who are you?
I asked myself that in the morning, look in the mirror and be like, what face am I going to put on today? I am not originally from Gainesville. I'm actually from Indiana, a little town in southern Indiana, Evansville. And then junior year of high school, my father said, nope, we're going to jump over here to Charleston, South Carolina. Why? I don't know. So I finished like my last 2 years in Charleston, South Carolina, where I got probably the biggest shock when it came to just culture in general, because in Indiana I was like one of 10 black kids in the school, and it was pretty damn white. It was pretty damn white. Move over to Charleston, and I'm like, great, there's more people that look like me. But then you look at the history of the area, and I'm like, I'm just gonna stay inside. No. And then I ended up coming to UF to college, and I was one of those people that just kind of stuck around and kind of migrated from being the college brats who would drink downtown, like in Midtown, and then I slowly moved over to downtown where I actually got a job and I could be disgruntled with the rest of the people at the bar. So, and then I got into burlesque about 6 years ago, and I just haven't stopped.
Whoa.
Let's talk about that. How did
this story just got a lot more
That's
intense.
the thing. She's infinitely more badass than I am. Like,
Well, let me tell everybody a little story. So, Phoenix sent me a friend request, which most people that come on the show, friend request, and check out my Facebook, check your Facebook out, see what you're talking about, you see what I'm talking about, that kind of stuff, and get an idea of where our heads are at.
Yeah.
And so I see, oh look, friend request, and I click accept, and my timeline refreshes, and then there's boobs.
Beautiful, magnificent.
I mean,
ones.
it was just my
Glorious.
computer, and I was on my computer, so I wasn't on my phone, so it was like, boom. Well, I think I'm happy with this friendship already. This is fantastic. So
Rhinestone.
You had me sold at boobs.
It was Those are sparkle boobs.
But I had to comment. It was quite the first impression. I didn't even know what you looked like, and that was all right. Cool. So was that part of your burlesque?
Yeah, I'm trying to get in at least one burlesque maternity shoot outfit before this kid comes out. So I've been procrastinating like I normally do, so I'm running out of time.
I know a great photographer. Does a lot of good work.
I know a few that would like my work.
Are you talking about Troy?
I'm talking about Troy, Mr. Troy Fisher, episode 2.
I've actually worked with him a couple of times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he accompanied me to a Star Trek show up in Jacksonville because I'm a big Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
And so he shot my...
I got to ask you more about that.
But,
All right, are we talking about Next Generation?
Is that the one with Yoda?
Oh, no, it goes way.
Whoa.
What did you just
You know, the one with the Death Star, obviously.
Right,
Obviously,
right.
yeah.
Jar Jar, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Jar
God.
Jar.
Sith Lord,
No.
Jar Jar
No.
the Sith Lord.
Roddenberry's just rolling in his grave.
All right. So Nick almost just got thrown out of his own front window.
I haven't seen you this mad since your favorite player Tom Brady left.
That's the first time I've ever seen revulsion on someone's face so clearly.
All right. So what is your front door made out of? Is that metal? Is that metal or
It's solid
steel?
wood.
It's
Solid wood.
All right. When's the last time you got thrown through a solid wood door?
I don't know.
We're
It
about to
escapes me.
find out.
What did you do, baby?
I didn't
He's
do
such
shit.
a he's such a
chaos.
Tom Brady fan that he gets a little angry.
No, she's actually like really deep. Like, but what are
I
your-
just drink the tears of Tom Brady fans and Patriots fans. I'm sorry. Not sorry at all.
Go ahead and tell her.
I'm from Wisconsin.
I don't.
He's not a Tom Brady fan. He's a
I
big.
was gonna say, what the
He's got a
I like Aaron
poster.
Rodgers.
He's got like a poster. The first time I went to his house, I
photos-
walked in and there was
I
like a big
photoshopped-
yellow wall
Yeah.
and nothing but just a life size cardboard cutout of Aaron Rodgers.
Dude, I totally forgot about
Yeah,
that.
it was fucking weird. I didn't forget about it. You don't forget about stuff
you
like
had
that.
Aaron Rodgers in your house just chilling.
Yeah, big cardboard cutout,
Yeah.
like up on the wall.
Packers
No,
yellow
it was
wall.
one of the vinyls. It was like the vinyl wraps.
I don't know what it
Oh,
was.
geez, I remember
Stick up
those
on
I don't know what it
commercials.
was,
Yeah.
but
This is,
it I wouldn't be surprised if he kissed it. So.
just kissed it?
Well, I wasn't gonna go there.
I'm not going to tell you where.
So I've had some friends that have done burlesque. You go over there and do some of the performances, a high dive and stuff like that. Or
Yeah.
where are you guys performing around here?
Do you ever do 6 on North?
We not as a troupe. We never did 6 on North. We did a couple over there, and then we just thought it would be financially easier just to stick to downtown and everything. So.
Okay.
Who comes up with like the routines for that sort of stuff? Is that do you do those by yourself, or you got a group that you guys all work together with?
My troupe is the Mischievous Madams. That's been here since about 2013, and I can't believe I did not wear the shirt. I'm kind of ashamed of myself. Not that nobody would see it, but I just,
brand.
exactly.
I would have seen it.
But we normally will just do our own routines. Some of us will have like duets or small groups. Recently, our producer, Sally B. Dash, she's kind of like the head honcho, head boss lady of us. At the end of the show, we would do a whole group number that was surrounding one particular performance or one particular performer. So I know like last Halloween, we had Sally Sucre do her Carrie act.
All right,
Complete
I'm intrigued.
Complete with blood spill, and the rest of us were the bratty other prom goers. And when she gets the blood spilled over her, we just kind of that's when she started like controlling us into stripping off her own clothes, and then she just murdered us all one by one on stage. So
Why is this not more
Oh,
mainstream?
dude,
Jesus
you
Christ!
got to go to these shows. They are amazing.
I
I have actually been
I met
to
her
one.
at a comedy burlesque
So
show.
when
yeah.
are you obviously you guys have been put on hold a little bit with COVID and all that stuff.
in a way, yeah.
They've been doing online now.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
been doing online live and streaming burlesque shows. We've had to adapt.
I would imagine though that that's like, is it as fulfilling?
No, because the thing was that you fed off the energy of the crowd,
Right.
especially and the crowd would give you free drinks
Yeah.
and all other stuff. and now I'm
And
performing
all
for,
other
like,
stuff.
and
Hold
all
on
other-
a second.
Yeah, they give me free drinks. I'm just like, oh, all right.
Have
Now
you,
The story just keeps on getting more juicy.
now, have you been doing any of the online comedy things? I caught a couple.
A couple. I did a.
I saw
online-
one with you in like a guitar by yourself.
Okay, that was the Vito
dancing around
one. Yeah.
with some like really tight pants or something.
Probably.
Yeah,
That was when I was doing the '80s rock band thing.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to borrow
Yeah.
my wig for that.
Yeah, I did. I did that, and I also
That's a
did.
good couple right there.
I did
Hell
an
yeah.
online burlesque comedy show as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the comic strip show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and
I've-
hopefully that happens Saturdays.
I've been pretty impressed by the things that people have figured out to do in all of this.
Oh, as far
you
as
know?
the pandemic, yeah, and
Yeah,
like ways to get around it.
Like how
Yeah.
am I going to get my message out there? You know what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say out there, and that was one thing I was talking with Brandon about because I was like, man, I want to see some more of these episodes.
Yeah.
You know, and now AJ's put together a podcast. There's a couple other guys that have reached out. And,
Yeah, I've been on there like
you
4
know-
times. I was like, you gotta
Oh,
get
really?
Nick on here. He's like, what? I'm like, think about it. It's a storytelling podcast. Nick's a performer, an ex-performer. He's got plenty of road stories, I'm sure.
Jeez.
See, that's I exactly.
Not sure we can talk about those yet. Statute of limitations being what it is.
There's a few crimes.
Oh, you know, there always is. There's a few every.
No, there's not. That dude was a fucking pussy all his life. He didn't do shit.
Hey, pussies are resilient. Pussies are strong. He's a dick.
They can take a beating.
They could take a beating and regrow immediately.
I'm not looking forward to the beating. Mine's just gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I've heard my wife talk about the horror story. It's like when she gets together with other moms, they sit around and they talk about like the old days, like old war stories and shit. You know, like old guys
Yes.
at the VA. Like that's sort of what it's like.
Do
Like
you remember when my pussy
Remember?
separated like
Oh.
the fucking Red Sea and just
I remember back in the day when I didn't.
life spurred from
I didn't
it.
squirt pee every time I coughed or laughed or.
When my pussy
It's-
split like the Red Sea.
Yes.
Predator mouth. That's what
Oh.
we're
I
gonna
mean-
turn into.
Oh my god.
I'm telling you, in the hospital, I'm staying right her
that
face, eyes in
escalated
eyes.
really
I'm just gonna be like, just stare in my eyes. Just
Don't
stare
look
in my
down.
eyes.
Don't
So
look
I'll
down.
be honest. My first one, my son, they all of a sudden they just sprung it on me. They were like, "Oh, so would you like to come up here and hold this leg?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'll come hold the leg. You just doing a check?
Okay.
No big deal." And then all of a sudden, his doctor comes in. He's like, "All right, well, let's go ahead and get a push." And I'm like, "Oh shit, we're doing this now."
Oh,
Fuck.
you're already in. You're
It's-
in position.
And I'm holding a leg, and I'm like, "What
look
do I
down.
do? Should I?"
Don't
I
look
wasn't
down.
supposed to do that. I wasn't supposed to look down. I looked down, and then apparently a nurse across said, "Mr. Estes, are you okay?" And you know that male intuition that
The survival
I've got to
instinct.
be I've got to be strong. I'm standing here and hold this leg. My wife and my son is being yeah. I'm gonna need somebody else. Nope. I sat in a chair in the corner. My son was born. I did not cut the cord. I was.
I didn't know that was a thing. She asked me, and I'm like, wait. We cut the cord?
I'm like, you didn't know about
yeah.
No, my
Yeah.
dad did not stick around, so
Yeah.
I didn't.
If they were to ask me about that, just like, hey, Mr. Matt, like, would you like to cut the cord? And I'd be like, why the fuck would I want to do that?
Why would you trust me with that?
Well,
Yeah.
so
Like,
with
aren't
my-
you trained for that? Didn't you go to like medical school for
We
that?
cut that?
With
I've never
my
cut flesh
son-
before.
Like, what the fuck am I doing that?
It is weird. With my son, I didn't do it. I couldn't. I felt like I was gonna fucking fall over. With my daughter, it was different though. And I think
Okay.
it's maybe a
The
father-daughter sort of thing.
protective
Like
instinct.
I was there, man. I was holding that leg. I was locked in. I was, looking her right in the eyes, like you got kick it in the ass, like
you got this.
push that baby out of that. I don't fucking know.
He
What do you cheer? What do you? You're doing great. You're doing great. And she's just like, shut the fuck up. So.
He looked her right in the predator's mouth.
Right in the press.
But with my daughter, I cut the cord and,
Okay.
and all that good stuff. But also she was she came out face up,
Ooh, she was sunny side.
sunny
up.
side up. Yeah, and apparently that's bad.
Yeah.
So
It's not ideal.
There was
have
no that,
idea.
but you know,
As long as
it is a
comes
beautiful
out.
thing. I mean, it's amazing. I my condolences for the pain that you're going to have to go through in advance. Oh my God, I don't know what else to say, but you know, just blame him. It's his fault.
Oh, I know.
So,
I absolutely
you know.
will be blaming him. I don't. I feel like I should
already is.
apologize in advance for all the terrible shit I will yell at you.
No, you actually don't have to apologize to him.
No, it's a pass.
You're right. You're right.
It's a pass.
No. Just leave Daniel Biddle at home and just bring
David
David Battle.
Battle.
There you go. David Battle's going to take the brunt of this one.
Yeah, so you're safe, dude.
Go fuck yourself.
Oh.
I love you.
So, you know, every time I talk to you, it's funny because, you know, usually I bring somebody on and it's like, you know, oh, you know, so-and-so's on and you do this and we're going to talk about that. Every time I bring you on, it's like, all right, man, we gotta comb through the stack of things that you've got going on. Like, you got a baby on the way.
Yeah.
You know, comedy starting to come back.
We are starting to hear about show bookings finally.
Are we?
Yes.
Excellent. I want to know when because I'm
High
coming.
Dive has one July 9th and July 30th.
Who does?
High Dive. July 9th and July 30th.
July 9th and July 30th. Well, that's
Yep.
right after my 40th birthday. I turned 40 on July 3rd.
That's
we're
my
a few weeks
birthday's
out.
actually right between those days. My birthday's on July 17th.
Well, we will.
July
Got so many
11th.
July babies
July
here.
11th.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm a 7-11
Yeah.
baby.
Well, we're
You're
gonna
a
have
7-Eleven,
a
baby.
pretty awesome party right here. So
You can get some free Slurpees for
anybody that can hear
No,
this,
I can't. I have
fuck
to
it.
drive to Jacksonville to get a free
You're invited.
Slurpee. There is no 7-Eleven in Gainesville.
Isn't that
checked.
bullshit?
that. No, there is actually. There's a
Sunoco.
It's at the
Sunoco on 13th.
Sunoco on 13th.
That's right.
Well, fuck.
Yeah, they're a 7-Eleven now. I didn't know that either.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
By Badcock Furniture.
Oh, God damn it. Oh.
Right? Exactly.
By Jim J and Roy's or whatever.
And might
it is.
I add while I'm saying that, because I've bought furniture from Badcock Furniture, never am I more nervous about doing a Google search. than when I'm-
Yes.
you know?
Right?
Like-
Like, if you fuck up one
dude,
letter.
One letter.
seriously,
One letter.
seriously, you know somebody's got
Yes.
it. Somebody's got it. And
No, so I actually do search for that intentionally, and
but that's a
I'm
different.
Not,
that's
I'm not looking for a couch.
Oh, so all right. So we're getting back to comedy. Teaching. Governor came out and said something about they're thinking about trying to roll out a plan to open them all up in fall.
Yes.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, basically, but
Yeah.
we don't know when we're going to start. Like, maybe in August, but also maybe on Labor Day.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, which is more closer to the north anyways. Like,
Yeah.
basically, it's just kind of realigning with what the northern states do anyways. But,
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to see.
Yeah,
Because the thing is, like, now numbers are going up. So it's
Right.
like, what is it going to look like in August?
right.
So
I will say I'm noticing behind us that we've got a little bit of a storm rolling in. We are on
Yeah,
the
we heard the
porch,
thunder on the
so
How do you
If
see
it-
that?
if it does-
it's dark.
if it does for some reason
we're good.
lightning or whatever, you know, we'd
Yeah.
be forced to maybe shut it down. But
That's fine.
but
Rain's good.
right now, fuck it. You know.
But yeah.
Oh,
man.
and that's really cool because now we have two people here that can actually carry the table in for
Why are
us.
you so opposed to carrying the table? In? She's pregnant.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll
I
carry
can.
it.
No, I'll carry it.
Oh, Lord. Here we go. Here we go.
I believe that she
is-
could.
Oh yeah, she's the most stubborn ass chick. I love her to death, but man,
False.
I'm pregnant. I'm
False.
not dead.
She's not the most stubborn. How can you have the most stubborn when I clearly have the most stubborn?
Look,
fuck
I'm
you, Nick.
I'm gonna
you, Nick.
I'm gonna say straight up, like right now, if I have to carry this table with anybody, she's my voice to be my partner.
All I know is I guarantee you right now there's about however many people who listen to this going, wait a minute, mine's fucking stubborn. I got the most stubborn one.
Yeah,
What
no,
are these
we gotta-
assholes talking about?
Yeah, we got a competition going.
Mine was so stubborn she wouldn't even show up tonight.
That's just because she didn't like you.
No, that might be true.
I'm just keeping them honest, you know. So,
She and you know that she's gonna listen to this
I
and that
know.
she's gonna hear that and she's probably gonna laugh and agree.
I'm going to tell her what you said about her, too.
What did you say about her?
I don't know.
He's afraid to say it now.
He's starting. He's starting something.
Stirring the pot.
Yeah, he's starting it.
She's gonna come over and be like, "What did he say?" I'm like, "I'm just fucking with you." He didn't really say
I
anything.
just didn't want you to help me carry the table. You're just not strong enough.
So, yeah. So, what's going on out there in Palatka these days? I've been seeing a lot of posts from you in particular.
Yep.
That there's some rumblings happening out there. Tell me about it.
Okay, so basically, right now, like in a lot of different places, there's a lot of marches. But in Palatka specifically, there's a Confederate monument statue that's literally dead set right in front of the courthouse.
Yeah.
That we're trying to get removed.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously a lot of contention for it. A lot of people going like, "Oh, my heritage, my history," but like when you actually look at the history of that particular statue and who put it there,
and a lot of other Confederate style statues across the South.
Who is on the statue? Do you know?
it's nobody. That's the thing. It's just a random.
It's kind of like the old Joe thing that we had here in Gainesville.
Exactly. And there's no names. Every other monument on that courthouse has names from veterans from the area, except that statue.
So what you're saying is like this guy is just like nothing except for a stereotype.
Exactly. And here's the history of that statue. So basically in 1924 there was a sheriff in Putnam County, Peter Hagen. He was the first sheriff in Florida to really go against the KKK. There was a KKK group from Gainesville went down to Palatka and was like, "Hey, you got this prisoner, we're coming for him." And Hagen was like, "Nah, bro." And they literally got in a gunfight, and Hagen won. And he got shot in the hand. His wife got like damage from a plaster from a wall or something like that. But he lived.
I bet you he told her to go inside though, and she was probably too damn stubborn.
She won it in 1924. There it is, Mrs.
It's
Hagen.
all coming back in full
Mrs.
circle.
But so he won that battle or whatever, and then the people of Palatka voted him out that very next year. Yeah, and they brought in
because they were in favor of the KKK.
Exactly, because that's what the climate was. This is the 1920s.
Of course.
So what happened was a pro KKK sheriff came in, and then Palatka became one of the focal points of lynchings in the South during the mid to late 1920s.
Oh shit!
For 4 years, and during that time, the Daughters of the Confederacy, who was a sister chapter of the KKK because they didn't have women members at the time, so they would have like these little sister fraternities.
At the time, do they have them now?
Yeah,
right.
they're actually still here.
Obviously
yes,
you
they're
need
actually
to have
yes,
something
they're still
like
they're
that.
still here, but I think the KKK now is like a little more open. So the KKK itself may actually accept.
They're
women
more
now.
inclusive.
Well, I mean, you gotta move
gotta
with the
meet our
times.
diversity
Even the
quota.
KKK is like, we gotta update a little bit. We gotta have the ladies on. But Jews, no. Ladies, we'll work. But yeah, the Daughters of the Confederacy bought and paid for that statue in like I think 1926 when it was literally at its epicenter. So it got so bad in 1928 or 29 they re-elected Hagen back into as sheriff. They asked him like, "Look, we need you to come in," and he went to
And he
war
did.
a second time
Fucking
and
A.
beat the KKK out and literally drove them out.
Wow.
Yeah.
But there was a statue that was erected.
And like I said, in that time, the Daughters of the Confederacy put that statue there right in front of the courthouse, basically to say, "Hey, everybody, just let you know, we own the courts."
Yeah.
That's what that was basically for. And like I said, it's not of anyone. It doesn't have names for veterans in the area. It doesn't commemorate a battle that happened there because we do have a mural that's painted on the side of a wall that does commemorate a battle that happened. in
I will
Putnam.
say that there are some monuments in some different towns
that are
scattered
that are more
that are like name specific.
Exactly.
And I'm not talking about like the giant Robert E. Lee up in Virginia or something.
Yeah.
I'm talking about hey. These men fought and died for this.
Exactly, and the names of those people that died at that battlefield are on
and the
plaque
truth of
or
that
something.
too is that I don't think that the people who really had skin in the game were really the ones out there.
Exactly. The people
fighting and dying.
No, it wasn't the slave owners. It was the poor.
Figure.
The poor white people, just or whoever they could get. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the video that's going around the line or like online about I think it was like West Virginia or something like that where they were pulling down a statue and
I think that was the one with Robert E. Lee.
Dude,
the dude didn't get out of the way quick enough.
Oh no!
And he got
fell on him.
smashed.
Ooh, I missed that one.
So
Did y'all
listen,
see the one in Bristol
I
with the slave trader?
What?
Okay, so in Bristol, England,
Oh, wait,
The one that got
noose.
thrown into the.
Yeah,
Yes, they tied a noose around
Yeah,
that motherfucker,
yeah.
pulled him down. They started stomping on him. They dragged him to the harbor and just pushed him the
Ruined
fuck
it.
over.
I heard about it.
It was
see that.
insane to watch.
So I got a theory with stuff like that. You know, I mean, we've got some monuments to some people who've done some horrible shit. You know, around the country, around the world. You know, but you know, specifically here, I do think I've always hated like I've kind of felt bad about the story of Robert E. Lee. Because that guy,
Well, the
my
fucked up
understanding
thing
is
he
got
didn't even want.
right. He was not a slave
monuments
owner
and
or
stuff.
anything.
Exactly. He didn't even really want to
he
join
was
the
not a slave
Confederacy.
owner, and he didn't like monuments.
No,
Go figure.
exactly.
So I mean, there are some of the monuments that are just to individual people, like men who fought and died for that area, for that was their
Like
home.
a historical
I can
context,
sort
like
of
that's the battlefield, or that was
right. I'm okay
That's
with
what I'm
that.
saying. But this isn't that.
But
at
these-
all.
These are glorifying
Right.
people
Yes.
who really shouldn't be glorified.
And I think the problem that most people have is that because people are always resistant to change.
Oh,
and I
absolutely.
think
no matter
that
what it is, it doesn't matter.
When you see people out there ripping these things down, it's that like ripping the Band-Aid off, kind of
Yes.
forcing change.
yes,
And I think
don't
people
like that.
just have a fucking like, because even me, when I
Yeah.
do not like change.
Oh,
My
absolutely.
wife will tell you, man, I make plans. If a wrench gets thrown in there, I'm like, son of a, you know,
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
not a big fan of it. I
Well,
get it.
It's like no matter who
You
you
know.
are, like
I don't even like to change my underwear.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where like change is scary, especially when it's
Yeah.
this sudden and erratic. Like
Yeah.
even me, like I want police reform change
Yeah.
in a lot of different areas, but to see like all these cities burning,
Right.
it's scary. No matter
Yes.
how you look at it,
Yes.
that part is scary.
Well, and that's why I keep saying, like, I think that at some point, and I hate the idea of seeing Humvees rolling through the fucking streets of America, whether they're the National Guard or whether they're
I don't think
military.
you're going to get there now just because everything has calmed down. Like there's
Yeah.
no like if you look at the news, there hasn't actually been a lot of looting now.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of like peaceful protests that go on, except like Seattle,
Seattle.
which isn't even looting. They literally just took the fucker over. Like,
Seattle.
have you heard about that? They took over like a
Yeah,
precinct
Nick-
and a
Nick
block.
blocks,
Yeah, they
yeah.
took over a city block and was like, all right, this is ours.
So let me tell you about Seattle.
Nick and I were just talking about that just before you guys
I'm
came
not-
over here.
I'm not a guy that, you know, I'm going to sit here and boast about doing great things or amazing, you know, like, well, let me tell you if those.
Exactly.
But I will tell you the truth. I will tell you that if somebody armed ever tried to stop me from entering my property,
exactly, that's different. Absolutely.
you know, they just that's going to go down really bad. You know, if somebody ever steps in front of my vehicle with intent to stop me, like these, you know, they're throwing up roadblocks and shit.
Like the
I'm
FedEx
just- I'm
truck
not
where
gonna
they
stop,
actually ended up like
you know.
killing a guy.
Yeah.
Did you see that one? With
No.
the FedEx truck?
No, I didn't.
Like there was like a huge group of people that like just
Matt, there's a
surrounded.
lot of videos.
Yeah,
there's
there's like-
too many
yeah.
videos,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, you
on
gotta-
all sides. Like you have
Yep.
cops doing insane
Yeah.
shit. Fucking.
Well, no, there was a FedEx semi truck, like one of the double trailers,
Mhm.
and he was driving down the road, and like they blocked off the interstate, and he couldn't get through. They started looting his truck, so he just started going. He just started driving, and ended up somebody got stuck underneath one of his trailers, and they ended up dying.
Damn.
I mean, it's just a weird fucking time. It's the weirdest time we've ever been through. You know, I can't look back throughout history and go, man, I
No.
bet you those poor
No.
bastards just didn't know what was coming next.
Think about Easter. Easter was the first time ever the Vatican was completely empty except one bishop per week.
yeah.
Think about that. In the almost
Yeah.
2,000-year history of the Roman Catholic
Unprecedented.
Church,
Yeah.
the fucking basilica was empty.
Yeah.
Minus one bishop per pew. That's
It's-
insane.
yeah, absolutely. That's the kind of shit that I'm just, you know, when I sit back and you
That's
really look at
never
it, it's
happened.
like there's so many of those things.
that stacked together.
There's so many of those.
Yes.
That's never happened. That's never
Yeah.
happened. That's never. And when it, at the end of the day, you know, when you're sitting here, somebody like me, I'm trying to, you know, have some commentary about what's going. I can't fucking even keep up.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
exactly.
It's just it's bananas, man. I don't know what to do.
Did you have some?
Nope.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in the sense of
Feel
like,
free to jump in. You throw down whatever
No,
you
no,
got to say.
absolutely. I think like definitely with the start of COVID, and a lot of people were like, "Well, why are they changing their stance on this? Why are they changing their stance?" that's like the whole thing about science is we're still learning. We're still trying to figure shit out. So the idea that you still have people that are being little bitch boys about wearing a mask, is it inconvenient? Yes, but
Bitch boys.
Yes. But like my day job, I'm a healthcare worker, and there are some days I'm wearing a mask anywhere from 8 to 12 to 16 hours. So if I can do that while still running around, moving patients and doing this and doing that, your little bitch ass can go to Walmart for 30 minutes to grab your Natty Light and your cigarettes. And you can fucking
She's talking
deal.
about you, bro.
I know it.
You natty light
Look at Nat
motherfucker.
getting, like, uncomfortable. He's like, oh man.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I think
today's Bush Light.
My-
I
I had a few back and forths on the mask thing, because for people who don't know, in Alachua County here, we're still required to wear masks in public.
Putnam might be switching.
Where are they at now?
Right now, it's not
No mask.
required, but here's the thing. Their cases have shot up almost
Have they?
900%.
No shit.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah, so they might be going back.
See, my thing was, and like I said, I've had a few discussions about it with. I don't mind wearing a mask. I don't mind being told I need to wear a mask. I just don't want to be told I need to wear a mask one day, and then I don't need to wear one, and then I need to wear one, and then I don't. But we may. Yeah, we're gonna make them.
See,
back and
that's
forth?
where I felt like you shouldn't
That's
do
the-
the back and forth. You should just keep it on.
Yeah.
Even
Yep.
if you don't feel like it's maximum whatever, if it's going to help a little bit, stop rocking the boat.
Right.
Just tell them to wear it.
Exactly.
Tell them to wear it.
I'm good with that.
I agree with
I'm
Babel.
good with
Because
that.
you're going to have less people going, oh, you're a sheep, if it's just you just keep it
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Because when you do the take it off, put it on, take it off, put it on, people are like, okay, well, who's really making decisions?
Yeah.
Like what you just said.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it kind of goes back to there was the inconsistency, but again, we were still trying to
Oh,
figure
yeah, we're
out
trying to
like,
figure
Exactly.
transmission
Absolutely.
and,
Exactly.
and,
But
and
that's-
all that bullshit.
But that's why I say just keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just keep it on.
they should have said just keep it on until we get a more definite answer
Yeah.
instead of going back and forth. They should have just said keep it on until further notice.
Yeah.
Very well spoken.
But I mean, I guess for me, what pissed me off is the fact that a lot of the facilities that I work at, we didn't even have N95s. I was one of the first people
Nope.
at the facility that I'm at in Stark to have an N95, and they thought I almost stole it from the central supply room. Everybody's looking at me like, "Where did you get that N95 mask?"
How are the supplies of those looking now? Are they starting to come up at all?
A little bit better, but still nowhere near. The particular facility I'm working at is a nursing home, so everything's had to change. We can't bring our residents into the dining rooms anymore. They basically are stuck in their rooms 24/7 because we don't want to risk transmission. And in terms of supplies, sometimes we run out of gloves. Simple basic shit like gloves, gowns. We have one part of the hospital that's like quartered off that is specifically for active COVID patients. It looks like you're going into a construction, but you have the staging area where that's where you put on all your protective gear. And sometimes they have the N95s just for that area, and a lot of times they don't.
Hey, if you run out of gloves, call me. I'll get you a case of gloves.
I actually-
N95s are a lot harder.
yeah.
I
We-
actually
It's like
work in a
gold.
lot of areas that you're talking about, and we have to dress in, dress out, and do all that different stuff. I spend a lot of time working on the hospital and around
Okay.
campus, different places. And
I think this is our
so-
first rainy porch night.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I can even hear it. It's beautiful.
Wow, I thought that was
So that's
cool.
not static, people. That's just the sound of the rain
That's the
in
elements.
Porchville. That's right.
So we just take a moment and enjoy it.
No.
no,
No,
absolutely
no.
no,
Nope.
no.
But yeah, I mean, you think about it, because that's where the epicenter of this pandemic really is nursing homes.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
more than hospitals. If you
Yeah,
think
that's
about
where
it.
that's
Yeah.
where that's where we should be focusing
And that's
attention.
But we're
where-
not. But
Exactly.
We're not.
Yeah.
In Alachua County, I saw that we had 2 more deaths, so we're actually up to 10. But last time I checked, 6 of those deaths were all from one facility, and I used to work at the facility.
So did you have it at one point?
Yes.
Were you sick with it?
Yes.
And how? I mean, because that's got to be fucking terrifying. You know, being
Pregnant and
having this unknown thing going on.
Yeah, no, it was. I didn't even have that much contact with the patient. 2 days later, because we were aware of COVID and we were taking precautions, but not a lot. 2 days later, I go in and one part of the nursing home is just barred shut. I'm going, oh, fuck.
Oh, man.
So then we're trying to figure out, okay, well, who was it? And I'm like, okay, yeah, who was it? And they tell him, like, literally the one person whose room, I wasn't even in the room for that long. And I'm freaking out. I call my agency, and they're like, yeah, we have to take you off the schedule until you can get tested or wait 2 weeks.
Just couldn't work.
And I remember they called me, and they're like, well, are you coming into work today? I'm like, fuck no. I might die. And they're like, and the woman was telling me, oh, you have to be in the room for 30 seconds
Man.
and this and that. I'm like, it takes somebody less than half a second to sneeze
You
in my
sure this
face.
ain't a restaurant?
Oh yeah, dude. And like we had to
Shit.
stay on opposite ends of the house. Like,
Yeah,
we
I
were-
had to social
I
distance
would like
from him.
walk around.
Yeah,
wherever
I mean,
she
how-
was going, I would just move away
How
from her.
how is that for you?
That's
when,
what
when,
that's
when,
what I was wondering. Is like how do you deal with that? Because I know that.
well,
you're
I want to know. I want to know
terrified.
how that felt. She calls you and says, "Hey, man."
It was nerve wracking.
Yeah.
It was the most like because you want to be there for her,
Right.
but then she's like, no,
I
because you have a
can't
giant
touch-
hole in
yeah.
your chest.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can't catch this.
Oh, I forgot about the
Yeah.
hole in
The
the
hole in the
chest.
chest.
Yeah.
dude.
The crater.
So-
So like, I was bleaching everything behind me. If I went into the kitchen, I was
Yes.
bleaching the kitchen door, the bathroom door. I basically barricaded myself in the bedroom and my costume room, and I felt bad that he had to sleep on the couch. And they
care.
gave.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't.
At that point, that's the thing is like she's got like my baby and
Yeah.
it's my girlfriend and like
Yeah.
but I can't get
Yeah.
close. I can't touch.
No.
I can't do
Right.
anything.
No touchy.
Yeah,
No
it was-
touchy.
Right.
It was bad.
And
And
so
everybody wants the touchy.
everybody. Yeah. There
Right?
were times I'm like, this is not the time to be horny. What the fuck? But so
So did you make up for you?
he made up for it. Yeah, so we were good. We're good.
Of course, I'm a professional, man.
This guy's cool.
Brother. Good job, brother.
Thank you.
But what was shitty about the situation, and it kind of hits hard when I see people saying, "Oh, I don't have symptoms." I was asymptomatic for a week. So from the time that I was exposed, or at least until the time that I realized, okay, I have been exposed to a positive patient, I didn't go anywhere except to get tested. And it wasn't until after a week that all of a sudden I felt like, oh, something doesn't feel right. And after that, it was just downhill from there. God damn.
Shit.
Good Lord.
Oh, it's pouring.
It
It is coming down in Porchville.
There go my plants. Bye.
Yep.
I put him out.
Are you
to get
guys
him
getting
some-
wet there?
Huh?
I'm a little bit, but I'm all right.
I'm just getting a little
No,
sprinkles.
it's just little sprinkles.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
Well,
We could just slide the table over a little bit.
well, it's all right. We'll see how if you guys start getting like drenched there.
Exactly.
Usually
Well,
I don't mind getting wet. I love getting wet, man. Are you
Jesus.
kidding me?
Oh yeah, it's a trip, man. Like being with her is yeah. Yeah.
Well, I warned
Well,
you.
I mean, I don't feel bad for you.
No, man.
No.
Like I said, I
No.
met her at a show. Like
Yeah.
literally, like the first time I met her, she dominated me on stage. I'm like, I gotta ask this girl out. This might be my
Had
soulmate.
I known that all I had to do was fake abuse a man on stage in a leather outfit, I would have done that shit years ago.
Yeah.
That's gonna be an interesting story to tell the baby, though. So
Wait, is
how
that
did
a
you
thing?
and mommy?
Wait, getting abused? In a
Yeah,
leather outfit?
literally.
Is that
Okay,
fine?
so it was like a burlesque comedy show.
No. I'm just wondering, like, that, like,
No, I think they
Did I
need to
do
tell the
something-
story, Matt.
did I do something wrong?
No,
Like,
I did everything right.
No, he's he's
And that's
about
why
to
I
tell
got beat
a
for the
good
writing
story.
job.
I think that we want to hear.
I am gonna hear very intently.
So
about what
do
you-
tell.
Okay, so it was a comedy burlesque show.
Over
I wasn't
UC.
even on the show originally. I was just a backup. So I show up, and Jennifer Vito, one of the people that runs Gainesville Comedy, was like, "Yo, the headliner's not here. I need you to come in and do the show." I was like, "All right, whatever." And she's like, "All right, we'll go upstairs and we're gonna take the picture with all the performers." So I go up there. We get all the dancers and all the comedians, and then she comes out last. And I see her, and then another comedian, Barry, sees her, and we're just jaw dropped, right?
I didn't even have on eyelashes. My
Oh
eyes
no,
were
she
bald
was
as
fucking
fuck.
beautiful, clad in leather, knee-high boots, just ready to kick someone's ass. I was like, oh, that's my soulmate. So,
No, when did you know right then?
oh, right then, I was
Right
like, I gotta
then
date
and
this girl. Right, the second I saw her, I was like, I gotta figure out.
Isn't
how-
that
I gotta
an
figure out-
amazing thing?
Oh, yeah.
When you have that moment where you just like it's like the universe clicks into
Yes.
order and you're like, oh, yep.
Yep. No, I
Gotta-
gotta ask this girl out.
yeah.
That's exactly it. So.
I never had that moment with her.
Yep. So we take the picture, and she turns around and she looks at me and
Not
Barry.
yet.
And because for that particular act, so I do a financial dominatrix act as the IRS, but when I'm in Gainesville, I actually do it as GRU.
Oh God, I'm
Oh,
I'm
yes.
terrified.
Oh yes.
I'm terrified.
Because the IRS yes, it'll fuck you over once a year, but GRU consistently fucks you over every month of the year.
Yes.
With
Yes.
no lube. Just
None.
spit if they're nice.
If that.
If that.
I think they might just throw some dirt on it.
And they'll
Pretty
still
much.
charge you for that.
There you go. And that's-
They'll throw some dirt
Jesus.
on it and charge you for it.
Basically.
yes.
They'll charge you for the dirt.
Yeah.
So, and for that particular act, I'm like, okay, well, I need a submissive, and I'd prefer it to be a guy. So Vito was like, okay, well, we got two comedians
And
over
you
here.
looked out in the crowd and
I chose the other guy originally.
Because he was like a foot shorter than me, but he's cock
He was
diesel. He's like
stocky.
100 pounds more than me. He's all
Because
muscle,
I'm like,
right?
I'm trying to think of all the things that I do to the person. I'm like, I'm going to sit on them. I'm going to like stomp on them
She
with
thought
my
she was
boots.
gonna break me.
I'm like, I can't. I'm looking at you. I'm like, I'm going to break you.
She was wrong. I held up like a
I
champ.
was nice to you. I still didn't want. No, I still held back. I wasn't.
I'm just imagining a scenario where she takes you up on stage, kind of throws you around a little bit, and at the end of it, you get to do this like, "What the fuck did you do?" As you lift up your
We gotta
shirt,
do
you
that.
know,
we
like,
gotta do that.
oh,
But she used me as like a footstool, and she like beat my ass and
With
the
the
whole
riding crop and
whole thing.
And you know, it
it
went
was
well.
that it was love by that point. You were in love.
Instantly. I
Yes.
like immediately was messaging other comedians like, "Do you know who this?"
Were
Phoenix
you
Midnight
fully
person is?"
aroused the entire time?
I mean, I'm not gonna say anything,
but
but like.
okay, so yes, I'm with
That
you.
writing crop does wonders. Like we've redone that performance.
I would
now
imagine
at
so.
like
That's
the
a fun
Kelsey
one.
Theater for like 200 people.
I thought you were going to say at the house.
Yeah, actually we
Well,
did
yeah,
online.
We did for an online show. He
Yeah,
was
we
my
did.
sub, and that time
Yeah.
I was like, "We got to get you a full outfit."
Yeah.
But yeah, we did that exact act for. There's a producer down in South Florida, Ruby Tesla. She did the tied up tease burlesque show, so it was all different types of fetishes. And we ended up doing that act. Yeah, I'm trying to find the photo. And I had him in like the harness.
Oh no,
and
I don't
the
want. I don't want to
mask.
see a photo. I want to
Yes,
see
you
the
do.
full on video. I want to see the full video.
I got video, but none of that. So about that show, the best part was not even our act. It was the headliner. Ruby Tesla had hired Rubberdoll, a
Rubber doll?
rubber
Oh,
doll.
she is a evidently
She-
international performer. I didn't know this. You just go ahead and tell your part of it, and then I'll tell my part of it.
So Rubberdoll is she's an internationally known fetish performer. She also uses a sub at her act, and she was gonna close the show. 3 acts to when she was performing, she's all of a sudden freaking out around backstage, and I'm like, well, what the hell's going on? Are you okay? She's
I am so happy I can see that right
is that
That's the picture
that the
of,
photo?
of her
Holy
dominating it.
shit.
I feel like that should go on like a mantle, like above a fireplace.
So-
That's a mask that would scare COVID, isn't it?
So listen,
Dude, that's
Is
like,
it-
like a WWF arena. Like,
Yes.
That's
Yes.
when I
In front of like 200
when I
people.
promote the show,
You want to put that on there?
I would love
That's
to
fine.
fucking
That's fine.
episode 35. Porchville podcast, and you need to send me that, and I will make that happen. That will be.
And
that-
I would love to be sitting there next to him, completely speechless.
That-
'Cause I wouldn't have any idea.
That
what
will
to
be
say.
that will be my highest rated
Oh man.
See, I wish we could
advertisement.
put the other photos that they had of you and Rubberdoll, but that's
Oh,
not
no.
safe.
That's
That's
not-
not safe
that's
for.
not-
So
I
what
would
does
be-
what does Rubber Doll do?
So like I said, she's a well, I'll tell you the one of the things that she does, and I'll tell you the second thing later. But yeah, like I said, international fetish performer, and apparently the person that she was supposed to have as her sub in her act, it was a guy that was not all there. He had literally walked about 15 miles to see
Yes.
her at the Kelsey Theater. She asked him, like, okay, you're obviously a super fan. Do you want to be part of my act? He got so excited, got drunk off his ass, threw up in the bathroom, and ended up being kicked out of the venue.
Nice.
So then she couldn't find him. And she's looking at me. She's like, I just need a guy. I need a guy. I'm like, what do you need the guy to do? I'm like, I just need him to look like, whipped cream off my titties. I'm like, I got you. Don't worry.
I am fucked up at this point because we're done with our performance. So I'm like,
Right.
all right, I can get fucked up.
now
I'm
this
chill
is
in
all the
car.
first time that you've met.
No.
No,
This
this
was February
yeah.
or March.
End of February.
Yeah,
very
like
end of
right
February.
Oh,
before
okay,
pandemic.
okay,
This is
okay.
like this is our
Oh, so
reunion.
it's just
of
like a
this.
couple of months ago.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm like fucked up in the car. I'm like, I'm just gonna take a little nap. And the next thing I know, I hear ta-ta-ta-ta on the window. I'm like, oh, I'm about to get arrested. This is the moment. This is the moment. And I look
Did you just
over and
notice
it's
that
her.
they knocked at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah, it was adorable.
Yeah, that was really cute.
Damn it.
Anyways,
So I'm knocking on the door, and I'm like, baby, what? I need you to come in here. We need help. What do you need me to do? I need you to go lick whipped cream off this woman's titties.
I'm like, oh, all right. I'm going.
So literally, I drag
Duty
him and
calls.
Look,
Damn
man.
it, twist my fucking arm.
Now listen. So I go in. I'm like, all right, this is the mother of my child. I got to be respectful. Like when this other lady does this, I need to make it look like I'm doing it, but maybe not like get right up in there. I need to be tasteful. I need to be
Tasteful, yeah.
right?
And the thing is, I had
It's
never
super.
seen.
There's a very tasteful way to lick titties,
So you would think.
and just like make it. Look,
The rabbit hole gets so much deeper.
My bet is that she wanted you to do work and get that shit
just wait,
done and have
Just
fun with
wait.
it and
So-
enhance the
yes.
show.
So
That's my bet.
Oh, so this lady goes, all right, so I'm just going to do some things to you. You know, I'm going to put some whipped cream maybe some in other places and just look like you're done. I'm like, not a problem. I'll be tasteful. You ain't going to worry. I'm not going to be creepy. I don't need to be near your stuffs. So,
And I had never seen her perform before, so I had no idea what was going to happen, but I was excited.
Oh,
Right.
So I'm sitting in the crowd, like 200, 250 people.
Oh, no, there's
just-
close to 4.
You
close
didn't
to 400
didn't
people.
care what happened.
No.
You're just like
Oh,
fucking
just
go with it.
just
Help
wait for
save
the
the
story.
show.
Okay.
She's promoting. Okay,
Oh.
at this point, just wait. So the Rubberdoll calls me up. I go up there. She puts me down in a chair. And she's got these huge, like, I don't know, Death Star tits, like quadruple 1000D tits. Like, they're insane. Puts whipped cream over
Look
them.
this chick up.
Starts, yes, go
I
ahead.
gotta fucking look her up.
Oh, boy.
Go ahead.
Points at them, points at the crowd, points at me. Crowd goes crazy. She straddles me and just starts waylaying me with these fucking things.
I just see his head go back and forth.
Back and forth. My glasses start flying off. I like grab them and slide them into my pocket.
Smooth.
Yes, as I'm getting a concussion. Like, oh, it isn't in there. She picks me up out the chair. She puts me on my knees like 10 feet away from her. She gets in the chair and then pours it over her crotch, the whipped cream, and then starts coaxing me over.
And he's
As
like,
the crowd's going wild. In my head, I'm like, tasteful. I get close enough to this chick.
Is that the girl?
Yes,
Yes.
that's her.
Are you
Yes.
fucking serious?
Oh, yes.
yeah.
This girl grabs
I'm listening.
She's
grabs the
hot as
back
I'm
of
listening.
my head. Grabs the back of my head.
Keep
and
talking.
Rams it into her crotch. Like,
Slower.
I felt all the labias, Nick. All the labias.
All
and
of
here's
them.
the
All
thing.
of them.
I'm in the back, by the way, because all the girls were like, wait a minute, that guy looks a lot like, and then they turn to me and I have my phone just going,
There's like I said, there's like 250. She says 400 people. I'm hearing her in the back going, "Get in that shit!"
like, don't you come up for air?
Yes. Don't you come up for air. Yes. I was like, there's no being tasteful at this point. There's no
Yeah.
being tasteful. Yeah.
No, you left tasteful. And then she turns around
Yep.
and bends over the chair so that she's got his ass in his face, and she's Cuban. All that beans
It's
and rice or that arroz,
huge.
it's oh my god. Anyways.
It's a planetary constellation.
and you got your nose all up in that crack.
You can literally see in the video my head just knocking back as
I
I
think
get
your
whiplash.
nose like bent a different way that
Yeah.
night or something.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I'm
that-
impressed.
Yes.
I mean,
I
Jesus.
get down from the thing and like every person in the crowd's coming to me. Oh, good job. I go outside and there's 5 police officers applauding, going, "We were wondering why he was so upset getting kicked out. We just had no idea. He came back 3 times."
How many times a week do you watch the video?
I'm glad I survived. Okay.
So a couple of weeks later, I'm talking with the producer. It's quarantine. You ain't got much to do, like except for surf the web, and sometimes
Right.
you get on the sites and you have a little fun with yourself. And then I
She
was just
found the chick on Pornhub, and then when I get home,
This chick's on Porno?
yes,
Yes.
All right.
and I didn't know that.
Not
I just,
that matters,
no,
but you
she
know.
didn't know that.
I
so
didn't
when,
know. I just knew that she was a fetish model.
Send me that link.
just
So
I just knew
get
that she was a fetish
home.
model, and I'm just like, hey, baby, you know that pussy that your nose was in? And I show him a video. He's just going, oh my
Oh,
god.
Jesus Christ. I did not know that was a bucket list I had needed to check off. I didn't know that was there. That's like a
all
hidden
this-
achievement in a video game,
Oh,
right?
yes.
So all this bullshit about him, like, oh, you know, he's the outstanding,
Achievement unlocked.
Yes, exactly.
the outstanding teacher, you know, teaches young minds, and he hangs out with porn stars and strippers on the weekend.
I lie so much.
I mean, that's a fucking resume.
I stay in, I watch Netflix or something, just hang around the house, old Mr. Biddle.
I got
No, I got video that says otherwise.
Yes.
Oh shit!
I told him whenever we started dating, look, I will get into some crazy shit. You might get into it with me. You gotta be open. You gotta be
I'm
open.
nimble. I got this.
No, and I'm glad. I'm glad that you've been real cool.
I've rode the wave pretty well.
I mean, the wave sounds pretty fucking amazing.
It's pretty fucking dope. I'm not gonna lie.
I
I'm
was
not
like,
gonna
I'm
lie.
not sure who I'm more jealous of. Am I jealous of Rubberdoll or am I jealous of my boyfriend? This isn't fair.
So, I mean, how crazy are we talking then?
I think that's actually the craziest thing that you've ever done so far.
Yeah.
To date. Oh,
To
so
date,
far.
To date.
She threw the
with
so
her
far
on
in there.
stage, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
I mean, Jesus.
And he's come with me on a couple of shows.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, the ones that we've done here in Gainesville, and then that was
New
like,
Orleans.
and yeah, we.
Why would you not?
Exactly.
For fuck's sake, I'm coming next time.
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
in.
Oh, dude, it's an event,
should.
man.
I am
it is
there.
an event, dude. And that's the cool thing about burlesque is it's not just stripping. Like they all do their individual acts and they come
Yeah.
up with dance routines and like it's funny as fuck. Like some of them are really. like,
And
they
you're
have
not up there
comedic
trying to
timing.
convince guys that they're putting you through college.
No.
So-
I mean, no, I
There's that
can.
too.
I will if I have. I will if I want to. I will if I have to. That's the
She's
other
like,
thing.
I will
like,
make a student act.
yeah, no, that's the other thing I like about burlesque. It literally can be anything because a lot of people, when they think burlesque, they think the fancy dresses and the boas and the fans, and there is that. There definitely
New
is that.
Orleans classic.
Yeah.
New York classic style, and then there's other avenues of burlesque. I particularly like what's called Nerdlesque. I'm a huge nerd.
Nerdlesque.
So I've done at that same venue. We've done a theater, a video game show. I did Altair from Assassin's Creed. We had
Very cool.
We had a creeper. We had what is it? We had a performer do Pyramid Head from
Silent Hill.
From Silent Hill, and the bitch boy asshole ex that I was dating at the time. I'm not salty.
Not me.
Not you. It's not you. Was high off his ass. And the performer was coming from the back of the room, and they had it so it was like red light and sirens and shit. And she's dragging the sword that character carries, dragging it like you're in the video. He stands up, turns around, is just faced with this 8-foot monstrosity with really nice tits staring him down, and you see him freak out and almost run to the other side of the venue.
I'm just saying now, this is my favorite interview ever.
Dude, I'm telling you,
I'm having
man.
a fucking.
Wait. Did you say something about an 8-foot tall monstrosity
Well,
with
because of the
monster
tits,
tits
yes.
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 dragging a sword dressed
Huge
up
sword.
as Pyramid
Yeah.
Head?
Yes.
I would have run away as well.
Matt
that
coming
sounds-
back. Matt's like, what the fuck is happening
That
right now?
sounds terrifying.
I go away for 1 minute to take a piss. Oh my god.
No, dude, I had to walk away to take a piss because you guys were talking about all of the really awesome stuff about.
Oh, dude, but it's
think
great,
Matt's
man.
blushing.
Yes.
I couldn't go to the bathroom. Like I had to stay. I had to listen to the entire
Calm down.
thing.
Calm down, Matthew.
I need.
And
Calm
then-
down.
And then I come back to like an 8-foot tall pyramid head.
Oh,
Like,
there's all
dragging a
different
sword
kinds of
with
acts.
monster
There's-
tits. Like
She has one where she does Jack Skeleton, but then she smokes a blunt because I got high.
How in depth do the costuming and stuff like that? Like how
Oh,
how
jeez.
really into it do you get? Because I know some people can just. I mean, you couldn't tell the difference between the genuine article and something that people's making at their
I
house.
guess it depends on each person, and it's also how much you want to be true to the character. Like, Altair, I did want to get as close to the character as I can, and so I'm still, to this day, adding things to the costume. My friend's actually trying to make me a functional hidden blade. The thing is, I have to try to keep my, because in the game that he has that fourth
Oh, with
finger kind
Altair?
of, yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to keep reminding myself
it's
to like, yeah.
Nick has absolutely no
I
idea
can
what
do
we're
stuff
talking about right now. Just so you know.
It's a video game that stabs people. He's a dude that stabs people, but she's that, but with tits and an ass.
Matt's the resident
Glorious.
video game guy.
Yeah.
I know like a couple. I'm Super Mario.
Yeah,
Zelda.
and we actually did have we had a Zelda, we had a Princess Peach, we had I think it's a creeper from Minecraft. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So we've definitely done different types of Nerdlesque. I've done a Game of Thrones show last year.
Which that kind of just works because titties.
What about
Yeah.
Half-Life, like with the face Creepers?
Yeah,
Is that what they were called?
Half-Life? Shit. No, we did not have Half-Life, but we did have a girl do Portal with an actual like portal cube and
Yeah,
the gun.
That's badass.
And she made it so that it looked like she was reaching her hand, and she had another part of the setup, and somebody else was in there showing like it was her hand coming through the portal on the other side. So.
And again, I'm just gonna go back to the point of saying that Nick has absolutely no fucking idea what that means.
I love it.
But it sounds impressive. I mean, I know some of the characters, the Resident Evils and stuff like that, but
you don't know Portal.
specifically, no.
No, I think the main thing to think about with Burlesque, it's kind of like the Rule 34 of entertainment in the
Now,
sense
I've
that
heard the
if it
wor-
exists, it'll be a Burlesque act of it at some point.
Yes, I've heard that. I've heard Rule 34. What is that?
Rule 34 is if it exists, there is a porn or something
Okay.
that is of that.
Okay.
It's like burlesque and cosplay. Like
Yes.
Yeah,
all
that's
of that.
well, burlesque kind of is like stripping and cosplay combined.
Yeah.
That's like
It kind of depends. Like not so much when it comes to like the very classic style of burlesque, but when you get into nerd, especially when you get into burlesque, into nerdlesque, especially for me, the Atlanta
there's
community.
a thing called Nerdlesque.
Yeah, nerdlesque.
Where have you been? This is your moment.
literally.
Dude, I'm
It's got the word nerd in it. It's your time.
I am carrying this conversation. You have nothing to say right now.
Yet you just showed up with the Nerdlesque part.
That's because I had to go
that
pee
was like
because I
8
couldn't
minutes
pee.
ago.
He's like, God damn it. But yeah, no, we've done Nerdlesque.
Whatever.
I've done Nerdlesque festivals and, well, not festivals, but shows. Let me see. I did last year BlurredCon up in DC. We had a Blurredlesque, so a black nerd burlesque show, which was pretty cool. I've done a couple of shows in Atlanta where because
Did you
of
just call
Dragon
it
Con.
BlurredCon?
BlurredCon.
How do you
BlurredCon.
spell that?
BLERDC, because it's in DC. ON.
BLERDC.
Yeah, blurred, black nerd. Because like unfortunately for a lot of blurs and other POCs is that we get shunted out of a lot of mainstream nerd conventions because they tell us, oh well, you're black, so you can't, dress like as this character or this character or this character. And we just said, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna have our
that's
own
right.
con with
Stupid.
blackjack and hookers and Hennessy, and it was great.
How excited are you?
When is your baby?
August.
August 18th is our due date.
How excited are you? You got to be stoked.
Yeah.
Now, how old are you now?
33.
33.
No, you're not excited. You're terrified.
Yes, I am.
That
I am.
absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah?
terrified on multiple
Absolutely.
levels. Yeah.
You know, the funny thing about having kids is because everybody always they go on about, oh, I'm not financially ready. You're never financially ready. Oh,
Exactly.
I'm not mentally ready. You're never fucking mentally ready.
Well, this wasn't even supposed to happen. That was the big thing. It wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to happen because
I was supposed to be shooting blanks. Okay, so
No
when,
shit.
Yes,
Yeah.
because when I was married for
lies.
7 years.
Is it because
And then
of
I
the
was
hole in
I'm
your
divorced
chest?
now 3. Well, because of my sort of Marfan syndrome, me and my ex-wife just weren't getting pregnant, so we went to a in vitro specialist over in Jacksonville. And he tested me 4 times, and all 4 times he's like, dude, you don't have the count, and the
Holy
sperm you
shit.
do have are so mutated, it's not going to happen
they can
unless
make
you
their
do
own
in
X-Men
vitro.
series
Wait,
out of
what
your
does that?
sperm.
What does that mean though? Like that they're so mutated.
It
So
means
like
mutated.
no heads or no
yeah,
tails or
there's
two
no
tails.
tails or 2 heads. Like they're like, yeah, man, you got like some fucking hydras in there. Like,
Yeah.
So your
Which is
kids
weird,
could have
like-
2 tails.
no, but the
How
sperm,
cool would that
dude.
be?
Oh god. Anyways, so yeah, but so I thought like, oh, it's just never gonna happen, and
Right.
like so. I was like, yeah, don't worry, I'm shooting blanks.
How long does it take
And then
to?
her uterus was like, yeah, hold my beer.
How long does it take to convince a girl though that no, don't worry, I'm shooting blanks, and then look what happens.
That was
Really
the
not
first
long.
time. It only takes
I mean,
33
she's
years.
just got to be
It only
like,
takes
what the
33
fuck,
years.
man?
Yes. Oh yes. Yes.
No, the day
Yeah.
that we found
And then
out.
literally everyone was like, wait, what, Biddle? And she's like, okay, maybe he's telling the truth.
But
Because I'm like, did you just fucking like
Yes.
No, we found out because I had been doing 2 shows. I had just come from Savannah to do a burlesque festival. Drove down the next day to do a burlesque show back in South Florida. Drove back up and I'm like, I haven't had my usual monthly visitor. I was late last month. It's fine. A couple of days later, I'm like, okay, this ain't fine. Something's wrong. Something's wrong.
Oh, that monthly visitor.
Yeah, and
Nobody likes that, especially us
no,
males.
No. Look, man, a period can only stop a sentence, okay? If you're not willing to go in any condition, that's just my thing.
here,
Thank you.
here.
oh, I'm not supposed to. Oh, damn it, I got water. I'm not supposed to toast that shit. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. I had went to a friend, another performer, and I'm like, look, I know you got like one more pregnancy test. Can I just like, obviously not borrow it because you don't want it back, but and it came up positive, and so I'm like, oh, I'm freaking out. I took it in the morning, like 6 o'clock in the morning, because it was bothering me. I needed to know. It came up positive, and I just said, well, fuck. I left it on the bathroom and just went out the front door and took a walk, just like contemplating all my life decisions and how it got to that moment. Came back. He was still asleep. I'm sitting on the couch, and I end up
Does he know
out.
anything about this?
He does.
No.
Well, no.
No, not at that point.
No, not at that point,
she
no.
He
passes
doesn't. He
out
doesn't
on
know
the
that.
couch.
He doesn't know that you're worried about it.
No.
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 So she's passed out on the couch. I wake up and I go take a piss because every dude, that's what we do.
Of course.
I'm literally midstream and
Oh,
I
shit.
look over and I see positive.
Oh fuck.
It's literally what I yelled out. Like, I'm like,
Wow.
oh fuck!
And then I hear him. I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I hear her go, whoops.
I'm like, oh.
As an aside, my wife the other day had a fever, and she sent me a picture of a thermometer.
Oh.
And from a distance,
Oh,
I was like, "Wait a fucking minute!"
Patellum hurts. Oh
So-
no.
no.
And you're like,
Yes.
oh, okay.
Yes, first thing in the morning. Remember in my head, I'm like, that's not a possibility. That's like literally, I had a marriage fall apart
Yeah.
because of this. Like, no.
And I'm thinking, this guy fucking lied to me.
Have you? Do you speak to your ex-wife at all?
Yeah.
Have you? Does she know?
She's got to know because her twin knows. Her twin's giving me baby stuff and shit. Like, gone and
Really?
bought shit and given it to me. So there's no way she doesn't know, but she hasn't said anything about it.
I mean, what do you say?
Exactly. I don't know. Good job.
Hey,
I don't-
what the fuck, man?
Exactly. Oh, it doesn't work for me.
Well,
I mean, I got words about your ex-wife that I'm not gonna say on here.
Oh man.
well, you got to say what Daniel said before. It's just like when he saw like the positive results, he said, "Whoops."
Damn it, David Battle. God damn
no.
it.
I'm like, I know this wasn't David Battle bullshit. This was you.
Wow.
And the thing was that I had like a slight moment of relief because I looked at the packaging. I'm like, wait a minute, this is an old test. It's it's probably all sorts of fucked
Right.
up. So we went to Walgreens the next day, and I took it the following morning, and I'm like, okay, let me just take the second one just to be sure.
All of them came up positive.
I like had to like bring him by the hand to the bathroom and be like, yeah. And we found this out 2 days before we were supposed to go to New Orleans. We found this on Christmas Day. That was a Christmas present present I did not ask for. That was not on my wish list, Santa. What the fuck?
I mean, this was like right before Christmas, and did you go to the store and ask for a refund?
I should have. No, I like the cashier's response though. Whenever we bought it, she looked at him, she looked at me, and the best response she can just go is "Good luck."
Whatever it is, good luck.
Whatever
She's
you
like-
want to do, good luck.
She's like, whatever result you want, good luck. It's like, I don't know what this is for, but
Yeah.
I
Do
hope the outcome is
you guys get a lot of?
Here's my phone number.
Do you guys-
you want to give me an update?
yeah,
Do you guys
exactly.
do you get
Let me
a
know-
lot
let
of
me know
a lot of
results.
the looks? Do you get a lot of that shit like this day and age?
Yeah,
Still?
no, still, absolutely. Most of the guys I have dated have not looked like me, so doesn't matter wherever we go, they
Yep.
take a second look, and even more so now that I am pregnant.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
You can see people doing the mental math, like, wait, huh?
How did he? What?
Wait.
so. I mean, is it uncomfortable? Yeah.
Wait, what was that? What was that hand movement?
I'm
you
not.
said?
Well, you see, like, how did
Was
he like?
Matt. We don't need a play-by-play. We're an audio show.
Trust me, it's kind of like when we saw the two tests, it was like that picture of Julia Roberts with all the mathematical equations
Right.
just going, how
did we do that?
did we carry the white? No? Oh, shit.
So I mean, the big question, and Biddle and I discussed this briefly before when we were talking about you guys coming on.
Yeah.
It's 2020, and it's a really weird fucking time. And
It's a hard time to be having a boy.
what does that feel like?
Especially,
What does it feel like?
It's terrifying. When I actually went to my appointment a few days ago, and that was actually one of the questions was, is this a good time for you to be having a baby? And I'm just sitting there going, are you fucking kidding me? And I know it's like their standard questionnaire, but I'm sure like in the past couple of months, they've seen that question just go,
Well, and for you, I mean, this is probably a once in a lifetime kind of thing. Like
Absolutely.
So
The miracle baby.
of course,
Yeah.
of course.
A miracle baby's born in the middle of a pandemic or in a recession, and then all the other fucking racial
then
injustice bullshit.
It's just a whole lot of and that's the thing is like literally we found out that it was a boy like a few weeks before
We found out in February,
That's
and
what I'm
then a
saying.
month later, everything shut down, and
Yeah.
it was everything was up in the air. Everything was so uncertain. We actually had it lucky because since I work in healthcare, I was just gonna keep trucking and keep
Right.
going. And then when we found out how they were going to be doing teaching afterwards, we were like, okay, so in that aspect, we'll be
covered
fine.
financially.
But then everything just kept going down. I'm like, okay, recession. When I got COVID, because I got knocked off, that was 3 weeks that I wasn't getting paid. So then all of a sudden our financial situation got a little iffy. And then everything else happened with George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Tony McDade. And it was depressing to say the least. There were days I would barely get out of bed. I wouldn't eat, which is kind of important when you're 3D printing a human. Because you worry. There's already those worries that like when you're about to have a kid, am I gonna raise him right? Am I gonna fuck him up? All that shit. Please let me do better than my parents?
Yeah.
And then the added aspect of, okay, what do I have to teach him to make sure that he comes home?
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks that I have to teach him these things,
And that was
but I have to.
Yeah, and that was the thing for me coming from my side because I mean I'm white. Like it's a completely thing.
Are you?
Yes.
No, he's
Yes.
pretty white. He's
Yeah,
very
I'm
white.
definitely-
No, he's definitely white.
Fucking
No,
super
white.
white. But because of that, like, it's real. Like, because of my ex-wife, she was also black. So, like, I saw racism. I knew racism was real, but it didn't really hit home as far as, like, having a young black male until we found out that we were having a boy. We got home, and she sobbed for, like, a good hour because she found out it was a boy. And she's like, just... of everything going on, and she's like, I'm like, because this is before Ahmad, so I'm like, yeah, I mean, I've heard of it in the years past, but like, it's not. We're getting better. Society's
And I'm
getting
like,
better.
no, we're not. And
then
I'm
Ahmad
like, no.
happened, then Breonna, then George Floyd, and then David. What's his?
McAtee.
McAtee. Like it just started stacking, and it's just like, oh my god. Okay, no, that's hitting home. That's hitting home.
And that's where you kind of see definitely your whiteness, because like I knew that things really hadn't improved in years. I mean, definitely after, like my thoughts immediately went to Tamir Rice, who was 12.
That's what terrifies
He was
me.
playing. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable even buying. I want to. We live in Florida. It gets hot. I want to buy my kid a water gun. I'm afraid to
Or a
do
BB
that.
gun or whatever.
I'm afraid to
when
do
I was
that.
a teenager, played with BB
Yeah.
guns all the time.
Yeah.
But like when you see the video of Tamir, like literally, this is 12-year-old boy playing with I think it was a BB gun, and those cops just
Was this the kid at Walmart?
No, he was at a park. He was at a
park.
playground. And they roll up. You can literally
I
watch
do
the
remember
video.
that
They
one,
roll
yeah.
up. They immediately hop out. They don't say freeze. They just hop out and start shooting.
You know what makes me sick every time I hear about
That's
something like
fucked up. I
that?
didn't even heard about
Is when
that.
I
one
Yes.
yet.
when we talk about those is my response is always the same. Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah.
And
But
it's
but,
like,
but it like
oh, I
goes to
remember
the
that
back
one.
of your mind.
It's
It's
like-
almost like school shootings. It's
that
it's
one.
almost
Oh,
just
that
like
one.
school
Yep.
shootings.
That one.
It's gotten so mainstream. We've gotten so normalized to that type of trauma. And I think about it now. I'm like, if it had it been a girl, would I have really thought the same way? And I'm like, maybe a little bit different, but I still would have been figuring out, okay, how do I make sure that she's valued? How do I make sure that she realizes that she doesn't fall into the people don't try to place her into the angry black woman stereotype, because when she's actually trying to stand up for herself, no matter what, they were going to be facing hardships. And it was like, what do I do? I still almost kind of feel like a kid again. I'm like, what do I do to make sure that my kid doesn't have to go through all the bullshit that I had to? Because unfortunately, what I got from a lot of people, especially there was a guy that I dated from Interlochen. I made so many bad decisions back in the day. And he, because my parents are African, they didn't come here till 87, so I definitely had a different upbringing than a lot of other black kids. But one of his things he liked to tell me, he'd be like, no, but baby, you're one of the good ones. you're so educated and articulate. And I'm like, boy, will you shut the fuck up? If you don't think that I won't fuck you up right now with the backing of my ancestors, do not blame me.
I don't ever do that.
No, no, you know better.
Oh yeah, I believe that she could probably kick your
she
ass.
could definitely kick my ass.
Yeah.
Even 8 months
Well,
pregnant.
we already saw the picture to prove.
Oh yes.
And you would probably like it. You'd probably say,
Fuck yes.
"Thank you, may I please have another."
More please.
But like, so like my background being different, having the African aspect, like he's gonna have to understand, they don't care that your last name wasn't derived from a slave master, that it comes from a country that you should be proud of. We're from the Congo. We're from the Republic of Congo, Brazzaville, and he has to realize. That's not going to mean anything, because if you get stopped by the cop, if you think that your last name is going to save you, if you think that your suit or your tie or your degree or your job is going to save you, I'm sorry. I got stopped in my scrubs on my bike coming from work. They were looking for a bike thief, and this was a couple of years ago when I was working at the infirmary on campus, and I had my headphones in, which apparently you're not supposed to do. But I'm listening to music. I'm on my bike. I see a cop car. I do the stupid thing where I stopped abruptly to take the headphones out, and immediately 2 cop cars come at me, sirens on. I'm like, oh my God, seriously, this for headphones? And I realized that it could have just been the headphones they could have stopped me for. And one cop comes and talks to me and asks me, well, what are you doing on campus? Like I'm not supposed to be there. And I have my blue scrubs on. I have my work badge that clearly says University of Florida. And I told him I was working. I just got off work. Where do you work at? The infirmary. And he's like, where'd you park your bike at? This bike, where was it parked at? I'm like, at the infirmary where I work. And I looked at him. I'm like, okay, this clearly isn't about the headphones. I got pretty snippy with him. And I asked him, well, what is it? It's clearly not about the headphones. They're like, oh, we're looking for a bike thief. We're looking for a black male with dreads. And at the time I had braids, but... And literally, I just kind of like crossed my arms and kind of like pushed the girls up a little bit. I'm like, a black male, huh? Why the fuck did you stop me? And I almost forgot everything that my parents taught me and almost started going off. And it had to be this other female cop that had to calm me down. I'm like, look, I don't know nothing. I didn't see nothing. This isn't my bike. Even the kid that got his bike stolen showed up, and he's looking at me like, why do you have her? Why did you stop her? That's not the guy. That is not a guy. I was infuriated, and at that point I realized that respectability politics are bullshit. I was in my work outfit with my work badge on, and it could have gone a complete 180 degrees, and especially now with the protest, I've gone to a few as a medic personnel. And I've seen the horrors of the medic tents being trashed, looted. They were shooting at the medics. I've heard...
Yeah, I've seen some of those videos.
Yeah, no, and it infuriated me.
Doesn't make any fucking... And fuck those guys who did that shit.
How do you violate the Geneva Convention? Like...
Yeah. I don't get that shit.
We don't do that to, like, Iraqis and stuff.
I'm curious, how is your parents' view of racial relations in this country, given the fact that they... didn't come here until 87. Like I mean, obviously things are different where they're from.
I would say,
like when we were talking to Brandon, his parents were saying, or he was saying, his mother had the conversation with him about being a young black man in America. Was there like that kind of vibe from your parents?
Oh, absolutely. Especially my...
So they already knew. Like,
they already knew.
We're moving to America. We're taking our kid. Like...
Well, I was actually born here. Me and my other sisters were born here. But no, from a very young age, I was aware of...
87. Yeah. You're a lot
she was born in 88.
Yeah, I was born in 88.
I was born in 87.
But I was very aware of Malcolm X and
I was
Baldwin.
born in 86, so
and he had me watch Roots. At the time, I almost felt bad because my younger sister had a white friend come over playing, and my dad was like, I want you all to come here. I want you all to sit here and watch this movie, and I want to know your thoughts. And it was Roots, and the little white girl was crying.
She had to watch the whole thing?
She watched the whole thing. She was 9.
Isn't it like an 8-hour miniseries or something?
It was the first part of it. It was the very first part. But like this little white girl was crying, and at that time I felt bad, and now I'm like, well, welcome to our world.
I'm not gonna lie. I saw the remade one that they did like a couple years ago. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And it was much more graphic.
Oh really?
In their portrayal, and it
fucks you up.
It fucks you up.
Yeah, when you
it
actually
fucks
hear the shit people did, man, it
And it's not. It was so. Yeah, we were watching movies like that. We saw, Amistad, and my father said this was the blight of black people in America. If our ancestors had been on one of the ships, we would have been here. It would have been a completely different story. So he taught me. He at least taught me that to appreciate that while we didn't necessarily have the history that most black people in America had, we would still face the same shit. Because like I said, our last name doesn't mean anything. Our jobs. My dad is a PhD in chemical engineering. He's been stopped for driving while black.
Well,
So-
and that's the fucked up thing is like, if I honestly like look back on every friend I have or family member, whoever that's black, they have a story of a cop pulling them over. Every single one. Like even my ex-father-in-law, he's a minister of a church, a bishop of a church over in Palatka. Shout out Moses Long Jr. And we would do a food giveaway. So every Monday and Wednesday we would go to pick up food from Winn-Dixie that they were giving away so we could give it away to the poor, right? So we were on the way one time and we get stopped by a cop. And it's like 11 a.m. We're in a church van, clearly marked as a church van. This is a 65-year-old, like 4'11" preacher. This cop comes up to his side of the door and unholsters his gun and just has his hand on it the whole time while he's talking to him. And, like, does not have his hand leave his gun.
That shit angers me.
And I'm like,
it fucking just
literally
irritates the shit
in
out of me.
a church van, like, Bible right there, a bit, like, this is not a threat. This is obviously not a threat. Like, that kind, like, that's where you start to go, oh, okay. Like, even as a white, like, you're like, that's uncomfortable.
I tell this story all the time. I used to work with a friend of mine, black man, and he was my assistant manager for a lot of years, and there was a period of time where for whatever reason we were getting pulled over, like every couple of days we were getting pulled over by cops, and we were running the same route.
Yep, almost like they were waiting.
And like me and him lived like on the same block, so
Yeah, so y'all would carpool together and shit.
Well, no, we wouldn't even carpool. It was like just we would drive independently.
Got you.
And we'd both get pulled over all the time because I'm a speeder, notorious, and apparently his offense was being black.
Yeah.
That guy would get stopped all the time. Would get tickets all the time.
Yep.
I'd get stopped all the time.
Exactly.
No tickets.
Same here.
Nothing.
Same here.
And he would get so pissed. He'd be like, "This is bullshit." I mean, I will say, when I bought a truck years ago.
Yeah.
It was like 2008. Put dark tint all the way around. And I was in East Gainesville.
Okay.
Got pulled over.
Okay. How'd that go?
No problem.
Yeah, as soon as he saw who was in the truck.
As soon as
he got to the truck
Yeah.
and rolled down the window.
That was
good.
And there was one of those, sorry to bother you.
So
and
I'll tell you what's funny about this is that I was at my father-in-law's house on a boat, and I had been wearing my boots and my jeans.
Yeah.
So what I did was I took my boots off, rolled my jeans up, and was just barefoot.
Yeah.
First time I'd ever been ordered out of a vehicle.
Oh, Jesus. Your pants
So
rolled
I
up.
jump out of the vehicle. I've got jeans rolled up, barefoot, no shirt on,
Oh, this is
looking like a
beautiful.
fucking idiot in the middle of 301 or
just off
Hawthorne
of
Road.
Waldo
Looking
Road.
like you wearing jean capris.
No, right before it links up to University or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just looking sexual and sensual.
And he let me go. He let me go.
Yep.
And I went a few weeks later and I had this American flag sticker put on the back of my truck. No. And I've never been pulled over for tint since.
Yep, see?
You know?
It's crazy.
And that was 12 years.
Yep.
Different trucks, but I always keep my tint, illegal tint. It's always too dark. 100%. It is too fucking dark.
Definitely. But
Well, I even get scared whenever because I got a little crappy 20-year-old SUV with the window. It's a soft top. The back window is completely gone. So when it rains, he's always like, "Well, take my car."
Yeah.
I don't think he understood why I was afraid to take his car, and it wasn't just because like I was afraid I was gonna wreck it, even though it was insured. It was because if I got stopped, they're gonna look for the registration and they're gonna see it's not under my name, and that's gonna cause, all sorts of problems and issues.
And these are the things that we don't think of. These
That's the
these
thing.
are the things we don't hear about.
Why
on
do
a
you have
daily
this car?
basis.
This isn't your car. Why are you sitting? And
These
then
are the
it
things
escalates
that
the
are
situation.
frustrating.
Yeah.
I got pulled over not too long ago, and I was speeding. I actually did get a ticket for this one. But I mean, it was. That's what I was telling Brandon. Again, was. We had a lot of shared experiences, Brandon and I. When we talked the first time, we really ironed a lot of those out. There was a lot of like, oh, wow, I understand. I've been in a similar situation.
Yeah.
And we just talked about the differences in the outcomes of those and how it made us feel differently. And that's what always sort of bothers me is like, I never walked away from those experiences feeling like I was in jeopardy
That's the
in
thing
any
that
way.
fucks with me is like no one should ever worry about, okay, this is a misdemeanor. Even if you're guilty of a misdemeanor, no one should have to walk away from the interaction going, okay, I might not walk away from this.
Right.
No.
That's where we should like hold cops the same.
And I think that's where a lot of this reform needs to come into place.
Exactly.
I know a lot of people. See, I have a very dim view of. And not very much faith in government and their ability to get things done. So when people are talking about defund police and all that stuff, the reason I'm so vehemently against it is because it's like, listen, I don't think you really understand how much our government sucks at actually implementing something new to take the place.
True,
we have a hard time with those things.
They're not trying to defund.
No, there is some
reallocation.
There is. But
it's because it's reallocation.
Right, exactly.
But
that's
here's the
it.
thing. So instead of having it as government, whatever, you give that subsidy to a private organization, just like you do with a sheriff's office or whatever.
Right.
Because right now we have literally sheriffs do everything.
Exactly.
Everything.
And
you have a mental health issue, we're sending a cop to you.
Exactly. And that needs to be moved around.
Exactly. Kids
100%.
are having a problem at the school, let's have a cop go in there. When really it should be a behavioral specialist, someone who can understand that kid and go, okay, how can we change this from being a legal issue?
I think we have to find a
better
way
messaging
to,
system, branding system.
Combine all of these things. We need, there's a lot of instances where, if you send a social worker into a situation, even as blasé as it may seem on its face, sometimes these things just turn really fast.
Absolutely.
And
even in my job in healthcare, we have our patients that can get
insane.
very violent very quickly,
Yep.
and we have these steps that we have to take that are mandated by the government as well as other health organizations so that we protect ourselves as well as the patient. We have never, at least in my experience, we never had to actually call a cop because a patient got to the point where it did not escalate that far.
My instances that I tend to think of is the unknown type of things.
Yes.
I mean, I had some guys on my street, a couple houses down one night, screaming, yelling. Some guys beating up a woman.
But that's where a situation where a cop would be.
Right.
You need that. You need that for violent crime. I feel like the war on drugs. Yeah. Having cops in schools, that's where it starts to get maybe we could reallocate those resources to a better use.
And I think that we can come up with some plans that we, because we need more and better mental health help in this country. I am a number one supporter of that, and you'll never hear me say anything against it because the mental health roller coaster I've been on for the last year with not smoking and all that shit has been fucking insane.
Yes.
So I'm the biggest advocate these days, and I think that we can come up with a system that incorporates those things, but I do still worry about
the last.
I don't know, man. I
think
don't have a lot of faith in the government is what it boils down
but
to.
I
And
understand
then
that.
being able to do a
sometimes
good job.
It's not even the government, though. I mean, I understand what you're trying to say. I guess when you brought up the idea of, especially with mental health and how that works with policing, I don't know if you were here about 10 years ago. Did you hear about the Did you hear about the graduate student that was shot at UF?
Yep.
For those of you that don't know, there was
You were friends with him, right?
Not friends, but I knew of him. There was a graduate student by the name of Kofi Adu Brempong, and I believe he was from Ghana. And he was a graduate teaching assistant. Apparently, at one point, he started sending emails, and his supervisor thought that, he was clearly having a mental breakdown. Later on, a couple of days later, people heard yelling and screaming from his apartment. And so what they did was they tried to send somebody who was a counselor or had some sort of counsel training. And after a while, Kofi said, "Look, I'll shut up. I'll keep quiet if y'all leave me alone."
Yeah.
For some reason or another, they decided that, he's hurting himself. And instead of sending in the counselor to check, they went in literally guns a-blazing. And I believe the one that shot him was Keith Smith. Shot this guy in the face with a beanbag gun, which is non-lethal, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't cause a lot of damage. His tongue had to be sewn to the roof of his mouth.
Holy shit.
Two years of reconstructive surgery.
Yes.
And you look at the pictures of this guy; he was still neck brace. And the thing about Kofi was, he had to walk with a brace. This guy was 140 pounds wet, and he had a condition. I want to say it's polio. Don't quote me on that. But he had a condition where he had to use 2 canes to walk around.
Right.
And in the reports, I remember just getting infuriated with every single report or every single article that came out, because it's like UPD was changing the weapon, that it was a pipe or it was a knife or it was a sword that came out of his cane, which, while that would be kind of cool, we know that didn't happen.
Right.
So that's when it comes to cops and the whole in the mental health issue, that bothered me. It's like, I thought I was supposed to have help, assistance. Worst case scenario should be that I have to get Baker acted, not that I get shot in the face and end up, 2 or 3 years. And Smith was never fired for that particular incident. He was fired a year later for stopping some white kid speeding down the street.
Yeah, and then threatened to kill him, or shoot him.
Yeah, I forget which way he threatened him. And now we found him on LinkedIn. Apparently now he runs like some sort of like security company.
Wow.
But, here's my thing. I think as far as the government's incompetent as fuck. I agree with you.
No,
But
it is.
yeah.
It
I
is.
think what we need to do with anything is get away from the idea that we can bite-size things into brands. If you think about everything, whether it's the Green New Deal, anything that Trump's pushing with Make America Great Again or whatever he's pushing, and we defund the police. Like, we wrap around these names rather than actually talking about
100%.
everything that's in it.
100%.
And because of that, we're not debating. We're just building sides. Either you're on defund the police or you're not defund the police.
Yep.
When really there's a wide array of conversation there.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's what we got. We got to get away from fucking brand naming every goddamn thing.
I think
Everything has to have a hashtag.
I just think we're too fucking lazy. At the end of the day, for real change, real change takes fucking work.
Absolutely.
I mean, and it's not just a little bit.
But the problem is the world's falling apart at the seams.
Exactly.
Because
we've been overlooking doing it for so long.
Exactly.
And I don't know, because I'll tell you what, a lot of these kids nowadays, and I'm not going to sit here and try to bag on millennials and all that stuff. There's plenty from every generation that's
We're
lazy
the older
as fuck.
millennials. I'm technically a millennial, but I'm like, I'm right on the edge of generation.
Your back
X or
hurts all the
whatever.
time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't have a lot of faith.
I had to go get my own Switch to get my ass beat.
I don't have.
That makes me like completely cured of the coronavirus.
What the fuck?
Matt,
Look,
you're
I
not
have
a
seen-
scientist, are you?
No, but I saw it
Thank
on
God.
Facebook.
Oh, Jesus.
No, some of the shit I had to do for my coronavirus cure was.
Oh, man. She called up her aunt who was from Africa and, like, did, like, all these. hey, Biddle, I need you to go to like La Aurora and pick up this list of like crazy ass fucking things. And then she's like, all right, you got to brew this. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like,
No
you
shit.
realize how white I am, right? Like, no one in my family generation has ever done anything close to whatever this is.
Just throw in a coffee pot.
like, am I a witch doctor now?
The Mr.
or,
Coffee.
Like,
10 cups of water, you're good to go.
Oh no, it was like, what was it, like lemons and
Lemon, garlic, honey, and then there was a particular leaf that we could only find at La
oil
Aurora.
leaves or something like that, and you brew it and steam it, and it was weird.
I had to drink it minus the leaf because apparently the leaf fucks up with pregnancies. So I had to drink it, and then I had to rub myself head to toe in Vicks, completely naked, and make a sweat tent for myself in the bedroom. The pot with everything in it. I had to sweat with the pot in this little blanket tent for like 20 minutes.
Some weird, yeah.
What the fuck?
I just hope I didn't piss off the ancestors. I'm just like,
Look, I'm just gonna let you know
like
how
already. Think about this. Like, eventually, I'm gonna meet her dad, and her dad's just gonna be like, "Oh, hello, Mr. Biddle.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, you're having a baby with my daughter? Wait, you let this colonizer come and colonize your uterus? Like,
How's Dad gonna take it? He doesn't care as long as you're happy.
oh no, they've already disowned
you-
her.
Oh shit!
You
Because
clearly
of
have not had,
Burlesque.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
Yeah, no, my parents don't know about the baby, and
They don't even know about me.
They don't even. Well, they briefly know about you because, like, when we were
Wait a
supposed
minute, you're
to come.
due in August.
Yes.
It's June.
Yep.
Yeah, they're just gonna find
This
out.
baby
eventually.
could be here any day.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. I was 6 weeks early, so that baby literally could be any time now.
So,
This story just keeps on getting so much better.
I love how Nick's like, this podcast. I
Yes.
just don't understand.
Like, I'm looking at the time here going, hour and 38 minutes. We don't have enough time left. I need more time.
I'm gonna try to give.
This might be our first part 2.
I'm gonna try to do a quick condensed version, at least about them.
No, fuck it. Go on, please. Tell me. What in the world?
No, so like my parents, like I said, they're very traditional African, and I was supposed to be the doctor in the family. I was the doctor. My sister was supposed to be the engineer, and then the baby. We don't know why she didn't go into sciences. She went into business.
No
it's all right.
lawyers?
No, we don't trust lawyers.
Oh, okay.
We don't trust lawyers.
Okay.
And that's why I went to UF for everything for medical school. That plan fell through, or at least is on hold. And then I found Burlesque in 2014, and I loved it. But I'm like, there's no fucking way in hell I'm going to be able to tell my parents about this. I was going to tell them, like, while they're in the casket, before they close, I'd be like, wait, hold on, by the way. I get naked for money. Okay, y'all can close it now.
But it's not even really like, you don't get nude, do they?
you can't show nipples or the JJ, so
Yeah.
you do pasties.
Oh.
So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
not like
it's still,
100%
but
nude.
it's still,
It's still very
still
free
very
and
much-
very
yeah.
liberating.
You remember the story that I
yeah,
told you?
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Body parts
Let me
everywhere.
bring that website back up. Rubberdoll
she's
performer.
awesome. She is awesome.
Yes,
I
she
love her.
is. Yeah, I concur.
I'm literally looking at the reflection like,
I
yeah, my face
concur.
is there.
She is
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, go over to Rubberdoll's Wikipedia page.
Well, then
and,
it just dawned on Matt, and I was like, oh, he said his face was all over that. Wait a
No.
second.
yep.
So wait, so you were actually like on all fours.
We're going back
Yes,
to that.
yes. She grabbed the back of my head, and I'm like,
I'm not gonna be able to get over this for a
oh,
long
this
time.
is gonna get bad. And
No,
then she
he's-
just rammed
he's-
that shit in. Yeah.
Are you
Yeah, there
are you
was-
committing? Are you committing this to the spank bank, man?
He literally is like
I mean,
memorizing it mentally.
yeah, he's going back for round 2, so I'm worried.
Well, I mean, I'm probably about 3/4 chub.
Okay,
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
Yeah, not all the way, but
So what is when do you tell them?
Well, I had no intention to tell them, but I went to DC. I brought the guy that I was seeing at the time with me. My little sister was there. I guess her and my ex bonded over Doctor Who or some shit like that and became friends on Facebook. And through his Facebook was able to see photos and reported it back to my mother. Because about a month later, I get this call. And she's like, my daughter, my firstborn child.
You know it's bad.
What are you doing with your life? I'm going, oh,
shit.
fuck.
You instantly know.
And again, my mom never told me who showed her the photo. She'd be like, "Oh, it was a friend from work. It was a friend from work." I'm like, "What friend from work just happens to randomly find my ass on Facebook?" I created a whole Facebook page separate from my what we call Muggle self.
Sure.
So I'm like, there's no way that a friend of yours, and it took me a while to put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, that little bitch ratted me out. And so my mom was like, well, what are you going to do next? Are you going to open your legs for money? And I got real snarky. I'm like, look, if it pays the rent, I will do what I have to do. She did not like that. She did not like that. So we didn't talk for a little bit. And a few months passed, and she's like, well, how come you have not called me? I'm like, you called me a slut, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
Not in a good way. I mean, I'm a hoe. Like, I'm wearing my witchy hoe shirt right now. I'm a proud, bona fide hoe, okay?
It's magnificent. It's glorious.
So, no sex shaming here. No sex shaming. None. But,
absolutely none. I promise you.
I remember my mom calling me, and she was wondering, like, why I didn't talk to her, and I explained everything, and I'm like, look, why don't you come to Gainesville, come see a show, and then you can judge all you want, but don't knock it till you try it. She's like, okay, I will come to a show. So I decided to start her off nice and easy with the classic burlesque. And the day before she was supposed to come, I'm like, so, Mommy, are you still on your way? Yes. We will be there at 2 p.m. Tomorrow. I'm like, okay, who's we? Because the last time we talked, we specifically said we would not tell Dad because it would kill him. Your words.
And she's bringing Dad.
She's like, your father is coming down. I had to tell him so that he would not come to the show. I'm like, you know what? Y'all just stay in Charleston, have fun, enjoy your extra day off. So to this day, my parents have never seen a show. My aunt has, and my aunt, I love my aunt. I came out burlesque wise to her around a little after that because I felt like I had to tell somebody in my family. She's been supportive. When I went on tour, I ran into her in Charlotte, and she came to my show, and she loved all the crazy shit I did. I even dedicated. I have an act as the Count from Sesame Street. That I dedicated to her because we were both learning English at the same time because she came over here when she was 20, so we would watch Sesame Street together.
Nice.
To learn English.
That's awesome.
So she's been kind of like helping us with the baby.
Aunt V's really been mom.
Oh yeah, no, she's awesome.
I love Aunt V.
I love her.
Her Aunt V's basically her mom at this point.
That's awesome.
But when we tried to go tell my parents, it was right before everything shut down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, about the baby. We're like, okay, they gotta know that they got a grandchild on the way. Finally, we had to turn around about an hour into the road trip. My mom is also a nurse.
Yeah.
And it was just very bizarre how it went. We've been talking weeks up until the days until we were already on the road. My aunt called and they were on the road for an hour because she was coming down from Charlotte to Charleston, asking, we're here, we're arriving, we're driving, is everything okay? Yeah, see you then. Then my mom calls back. Actually, I was in contact with a patient that we thought had COVID, but they tested negative. But I think just to be safe, that y'all shouldn't come.
After we were already an hour on the road for days, this was planned out for 2 weeks. I think it was at that point.
2 or 3 weeks, yeah.
You knew this was coming, and you wait till everyone's on the road. Okay.
Well, you know what?
And since then, they haven't really tried to make contact with us.
Is you and your 2 sisters as well?
Yeah.
No. I mean, this is it's a grandson.
Yeah.
They'll be thrilled once he's here.
Yeah, I mean,
they just don't know it yet. But
that's the thing.
They'll be thrilled once he's here. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's just something magical about it, and I mean that's little Andre's purpose to be, in the next few months here is to bring everybody back together. Because that's what we gotta do, man. We gotta start bringing everybody back together.
It's 2020. It's getting too
It's
crazy.
2020. We've got to do something.
We need
Jesus.
everyone right now.
Biddle, you got any? Have you bought up that domain name yet?
Yeah, I actually bought that one that we had talked about.
Which one? Which one was
I
it?
think it was staying. I gotta go look it up. I bought it and I haven't done anything with it.
I don't remember what it was called.
I have an email saying you own this, so
Excellent.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's staynimble.com or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we had talked
Yep.
about it and I
Yep.
immediately bought it. Remember?
Yeah.
So,
how can I forget?
Well,
I was running around the house. I bought a website.
You need to get some content up there so we can start directing
Yeah,
people
I need to
there.
get square place
And
it.
but they can see you
Yes.
over there on that video we posted
Yep.
last week with Brandon and
Yep. On Facebook.
On
You can find me,
so-
Daniel Biddle. Instagram, dbiddle87. Boo, where can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook, Phoenix Midnight, either my profile or my page. You can find me on Instagram as Phoenix Midnight. I also have some merch that'll be coming out here in a little bit. And
Sweet.
Yeah.
merch.
pending everything with COVID, we might actually be doing a live show back down in South Florida again, Disney show.
Well, we want to know about it. We're going to cut this off because we're getting some pretty wicked lightning. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Porchville Podcast. Find us on Facebook, find us on Instagram, find us on Twitter, and all those good places. Make sure you subscribe to us. Porchmail at porchvillepod.com. We love you. Bye-bye.